Welcome to a 10-1-10-1 review. Today we're looking at my time at Sandrock and how I felt after playing the game for 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 hours, and 1 year in-game. As a person who does not have a lot of time to play games, I think that first impressions are really important, and the first 10 minutes, an hour of a game usually should give you a basic rundown of what the game has to offer. That being said, I also know that farming, life sims, and cozy games can have slow starts, lengthy tutorials, or just need an extra bit of time to really shine, which is why I think reviewing the game at 10 hours and a year in-game is also important, because how I feel at the 1 hour mark might be completely different than how I feel at 10 hours, and that can change again after I experienced a year in-game. I won't be rating my time at Sandrock on a scale, but we'll definitely talk about what I liked and things I wish it did differently. So without further ado, let's get into the review. My Time at Sandrock is an adventure, casual, indie RPG and simulation game developed by Pathia Games. As of this review, it retails for $39.99 and has a few DLC in the form of cosmetics and monster taming. For this review, I will not be going into the specifics of the DLC, although I thought it would be important to note that the DLC clothes and monster taming mechanics do make your game easier, as your clothes have stats on them and your monsters can help collect resources for you. In Sandrock, you can gather resources, build interesting machines and items to enhance Sandrock itself, befriend and build relationships with the locals, mine, decorate, and live your best desert life. You are one of 2 builders assigned to Sandrock, a declining town in the desert, set in a post-apocalyptic world 330 years after the Day of Calamity. Along with your fellow builder, Mian, you both take commissions as part of the Commerce Guild from the Sandrock residents. These commissions may include getting them resources, building things, or helping them with errands and tasks. All the while, there is a mysterious outlaw named Logan who comes into the picture briefly to wreak havoc on the town. As I have not completed the story entirely at this time I'm writing the review, I'll leave it there. In the 10 minutes that I played my time at Sandrock, I spent 5 of it creating my character. There are just so many options in the character creation, so you can really go into as much details as you want. I also really like how you can mix and match bangs with different hairstyles, as well as set the length of each component. I can definitely see how many people may spend the first 10 minutes just creating their characters before even starting the game, which is great because I love being able to customize my character. For a game such as Sandrock, where your character ends up being in a lot of cutscenes later, the customization really allows you to connect with your character when you have to see them interact with the townsfolk so often. After creating my character, I was treated to a cutscene of my builder arriving in Sandrock. I was very impressed with how beautiful Sandrock looks as the train pulls into the station. After my arrival, I met Mian, the second builder, Yan, the boss of the Commerce Guild, and Mason, the retiring builder who Mian and I am replacing. Mian showed me to my workshop as part of the tutorial, and I was able to start gathering resources to build my first item, a pick hammer, which is used for mining rocks. Already, the tutorial makes the game feel intuitive. There are arrows and indicators to lead you directly to where you need to go. After an hour of playing, I managed to get my builder's license from Town Hall and was given my first building commission. Yan, my continuously sleazy boss, also explained to me the commission board where the townsfolk would post smaller requests such as materials or simple buildings. With that, I was given free reign to do as I wanted. An hour went by fast as there was so much to do. I was given a free week pass to the Eufaula salvage scrapyard to mine for materials and scrap to recycle, which would be helpful to complete my first commission. Furthermore, there was so much to explore between the town and the desert. The town has so many buildings and different townsfolk walking around, running to their shops or getting to their destination. Jasmine, a local girl who delivers newspaper and is the absent mayor's daughter, gave me a tour of some attractions in town, and then I spent some time wandering around getting lost and completing the smaller commissions when my stamina bar ran out from mining and chopping down scrap piles for the day. With a game like my time at Sandrock, it's really no surprise to say that 10 hours flew by so fast. There is just plenty of things to do. One commission could mean gathering multiple resources and waiting for them to be processed into materials you could use in your workshop. Furthermore, to make the materials, you have to mine for data disks so that you can turn them into blueprints for new machines. And with those new machines, you can process new materials and so on and so forth. This entire process could take multiple days, and it's basically the gameplay loop. Sandrock has a main quest line that involves completing commissions for the town and the Commerce Guild, and side quests that are given to you by the locals after you build your relationship with them. Increasing relationship with a local involves the tried and true method of giving them their favorite gifts daily, or completing commissions that they post on the commission board, and also just progressing through the story. At this point in the game, I was still pretty overwhelmed with the amount of people in town, and I must admit that I did not talk to everyone regularly. However, at the end of 10 hours, I could say that some townsfolk did start to stand out to me as I started to increase my relationship with them, and I got to know their personalities and motivation. For example, in the beginning, I really did not like this character called Penn, who was arrogant and very full of himself, but after several cutscenes with him, he really just grew on me. I could confidently say that after 10 hours of playing, I was still eager to continue. I had no notion that I was going to be done with the game anytime soon, as the main story quest is just really fleshed out and it takes a while to get through it. There are some games that have slow starts and they get better as time go on. However, I think that Sandrock for me is pretty unique in the way that it starts at 100 and stays at 100 the entire time. During the 10 hours, I had multiple instances of one more day syndrome where I just wanted to play another day because I wanted to complete a commission, or I wanted to gather enough resources to stock my machines, or something was planned for the next day and I really wanted to see what was going to happen. I hardly paid attention to the time in game as it passed by so quickly, and I usually ended the day surprised that it was already nightfall. I finally made it to year 2 of the game after 49.5 hours of playtime. Usually, I would have finished the main story quest for other games by now, but I'm quite happy that I'm not done with Sandrock's main story and it's still continuing into the new year. I've unlocked 2 abandoned ruins, which are places you can gather resources from, such as ores and relics, and 4 hazardous ruins, which are like dungeons where you can fight old world robots and monsters. I still have not gone married, but on purpose this time. The reason being that the cutscenes for everyone really gives you information on who they are, and at this point in the game, I really love most of the characters in town and want to learn more about them. Overall, after a year in game, here are some things that I like. The relationships are stellar and well done. Each character is mostly voice acted, and most of them have cutscenes you can watch and make choices in as your relationship grows. Even some characters who I didn't think I would like ended up surprising me, whether it was confronting at-risk citizens who are willfully wasting water in the desert with Burgess, pulling Penn away from a mirror, sneaking into local-turned-outlaw bad boy Logan's house with Mion and Elsie, or just having a tea party with a fleeting youth society. Every interaction with the locals made me feel so much closer to them. This is definitely going to be the type of game where I'm going to mourn my time after it's over, since I built so many good relationships, and the relationships really make the game for me. I really like the number of things you can do in the game. There is always something to do, and it's so hard to be bored because you have things to collect, you have ores to mine, you have materials to process. Even though there are timers on the machines in your workshop, items process relatively quickly since you're busy doing other stuff anyways. I often would start a quest and then be distracted along the way, such as stopping to talk to a local or giving them a gift, taking them out on a date, grabbing another commission at the commissions board, running around to decorate my house, and even checking the prices of horses. Like I said, the days pass by quickly, and you can definitely get stuck in the one more day syndrome quite easily. I also really like how the game integrates the desert into the gameplay. From protecting the cactus trees in the desert to the town motto of conserving water, the gravity of how much these resources are important is pretty evident. After a certain event, water costs even increase significantly for a while until the event is resolved, which adds to the importance of water in this desert setting and how the town would just not exist anymore without it. The farming is also intentional, as crops are all desert-based plants, and you have to add a layer of straw to the planting process to make sure the seeds don't get swept away in the wind. Lastly, this is highlighted in how the weather system works. Most of the time, the weather is sunny, and the first time that there is a sandstorm, it feels really big and imposing. If you're not wearing sand gear, your character will cover their face and walk slower. Items that you're processing in your workshop will fly away as well if you do not have a sand wall erected. I heard that it could potentially rain in the desert, but for the year that I've been playing, I don't think I've even seen rain once. Another thing I really like is being able to move machines at my house in my workshop around at Construction Junction. I can add attachments to my house easily and move my machines in a group so I do not have to do it individually. This is really useful for when I expand my workshop and want to put everything closer to the edge again. Although the feature is a little clunky, I appreciate that it is an option so you can customize how your workshop looks and make it uniquely you. Lastly, I like the ability to buy backpack slots directly in the backpack screen. I don't really need to use storage boxes since whenever my inventory is full, I just buy more slots. Super convenient since I'm not willing to part with any resources that could be important later. Here are some things I wish I knew sooner. I didn't know that I would love the locals as much as I do now, so I would definitely encourage people to start making those relationships right away. It took me until around autumn before I started getting cutscenes for their stories since I was just a little overwhelmed by everyone early on, and I just focused on making my workshop better. However, everyone was such a joy to get to know. These relationships really became something special for me throughout the game. I also would have definitely chosen to have no voiceover on my character during character creation if I only realized how much my character would vocalize while hitting anything with my axe or pick hammer. Here are some things that I wish were different. I really wish that building relationships with some people could be a little easier. For example, I actually wanted to go after Dr. Fang in the beginning, but after not being able to give him any gifts and having to remember to stop by his clinical trials on Monday and Wednesday to increase his relationship, I eventually forgot about it. Not that I don't think he has an interesting story. However, it's quite hard to build that relationship in the beginning, so I can see others giving up and going after other people. In the same way, I believe that Logan, the outlaw, and Nia, the childhood friend, are also available romance interests, but I'm pretty sure that after 49.5 hours of playing, I've seen Logan for like 1 second or so when our eyes locked after he committed a crime, and Nia for a few days when she came to visit me. Although I'm willing to wait to see what their cutscenes look like before settling down, it's quite a wait since I'm still waiting after all this time. I also wish that the game was just a little bit more polished. There are times when funny things happen, such as my horse being stuck in many places, one of those places being on top of my head, or the townsfolk standing on top of each other or being able to see through them, depending on the camera angle. Lastly, I really dislike getting relic pieces since they take up so many slots of my backpack. Some of the relics have 5 parts and it's a lot of space. I am very happy that Sandrock lets me know which relic parts I've earned and if it's in storage, but I don't really care too much about stocking the museum, so this part of the game is pretty annoying for me whenever I mine and I have to lug back all these relic pieces. So to the surprise of no one, I can confidently say that I'm going to keep playing my time at Sandrock. If not to finish the compelling storyline, which I don't see why I wouldn't, then to at least finally settle down with someone. I know that there are more content to unlock, and I'm looking forward to seeing what my second year in Sandrock will look like. Overall, this game can be quite overwhelming with a number of things that you can do in a day. Although I really enjoy that aspect of a game, I know that for some people, it can be a little bit stressful. Additionally, it might not be for everyone if fighting monsters and exploring dungeons is not something that you want to be stressed out about, since monsters will attack you in the overworld while you're trying to gather resources, and you do have to go through dungeons and defeat bosses to complete the main story. However, I cannot emphasize how special it is in terms of the relationships that you build with the locals. It also gives you quite a bit of freedom to do what you want and what commissions to take. You don't have to be the best builder in town if you don't want to, and there's no time limit for the main story commissions. It's a breath of fresh air in my gaming library, if only for the fact that it's not a farming game. As someone who loves My Time at Portia, My Time at Sandrock's predecessor, I cannot recommend this game enough, as it definitely adds on to Portia's strengths, and despite not being as polished as I want it to be, it's still incredibly well done and a step up. Well, there you have it. If you think this game is for you, I hope you give it a try or watch me play a little in my Let's Play My Time at Sandrock series. Until next time, I've been Nessa, and this has been 10-1-10-1. Take care.